Captain Nathan Riley hadn't expected to find anything unusual during his routine patrol of the Cascade Mountains. The reports of strange lights and unexplained phenomena had become commonplace since the meteor shower last week. Yet here he stood, his breath visible in the cool morning air, staring at something that would forever change his understanding of the universe. The crash site stretched before him, a massive tear in the earth where trees had been uprooted and soil scorched black. The vessel, if you could call it that, was unlike anything human engineering could produce, its surface gleaming with an otherworldly iridescence despite the damage. But it wasn't the ship that held Nathan's attention. It was her. She lay unconscious near the wreckage, a towering figure that had to be at least 12 feet tall. Her features were striking, distinctly humanoid yet undeniably alien, with skin that seemed to shimmer with a subtle purple hue. Her armor, though damaged, appeared to be made of a material that shifted colors like oil on water. Nathan's military training screamed at him to call this in, to wait for backup and follow protocol. But something about the scene before him, the vulnerability of this powerful being, the quiet desperation of her situation, made him hesitate. His hand moved from his radio to his medical kit. As he approached, he noticed the severity of her injuries. A deep gash ran along her side, seeping a strange luminescent fluid that he assumed was blood. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Nathan had treated countless wounds in his years of service, but nothing quite like this. "I really hope I'm not making a mistake here," he muttered, kneeling beside her. Just as he reached out to examine her wounds, her eyes snapped open. They were mesmerizing, swirling pools of silver that seemed to contain entire galaxies. Their gazes locked, and Nathan felt his heart stop. In that moment, he realized he was either about to die or become part of something extraordinary. To his surprise, she didn't attack. Instead, her expression shifted from confusion to curiosity. She spoke, her voice carrying a musical quality that seemed to resonate in his chest. Though he couldn't understand the words, the pain in her tone was universal. The abandoned ranger station groaned under the evening wind as Nathan cleaned Valara's wounds. The luminescent fluid that served as her blood had finally stopped seeping, thanks to a combination of his field medicine and what appeared to be enhanced healing abilities. Despite her towering size, she remained perfectly still as he worked, her silver eyes studying him with an intensity that made his skin tingle. "You're military," Valara said suddenly, her English improving with each passing hour. "They will search." Nathan nodded, securing the last bandage. "They're probably already combing the crash site." "Those creatures we fought, what were they?" Valara's expression darkened. "Sentinel beasts. Created for hunting." She touched the crystal staff at her side. "They track energy signatures. My ship's core, it calls to them. And there are more coming," Nathan concluded, running a hand through his hair. "Great. Just great." A ghost of a smile crossed Valara's face. "You fight well, for one so small." "Thanks, I think," Nathan replied, unable to suppress a chuckle. "Though I'm pretty sure I just served as a distraction while you did the real work." Their moment of levity was interrupted by a distant explosion that shook the station's foundation. They moved to the window, Valara's massive frame having to bend considerably to peer out. In the distance, flames illuminated the night sky where her ship had crashed. "They're destroying the evidence," Nathan muttered. "Standard protocol for unexplained phenomena." "Valara, what exactly was your mission here?" She straightened, her head nearly brushing the ceiling. "I am Sentinel Commander of the Astarian Defense Force. We received signals, warnings. Your world draws attention. Not all friendly." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Some wish to claim Earth. Others to protect. My mission was to make contact, establish alliance." "And those creatures? They're not with the hostile aliens?" "No. They serve others. Ancient Watching. Testing. Her silver eyes locked onto his. They test all worlds on the brink of joining the greater galaxy. Before Nathan could process this revelation, a new sound cut through the night, the distinctive whir of helicopter blades, much closer this time. "We need to move," he said, already gathering their supplies. "There's an old mining system in these mountains. If we can reach it dash." The wall exploded inward as something massive crashed through it. A sentinel beast, larger than the ones they'd faced earlier, its red eyes blazing with murderous intent. Nathan's rifle was up in an instant, but the creature moved with impossible speed, its clawed hand sending him flying across the room. Valera roared, a sound that shook the very air, and engaged the beast. Her energy staff hummed to life, but in the confined space of the station, her size worked against her. The beast was quick, darting in and out, landing slashing blows that left glowing cuts across her armor. Nathan pulled himself up, tasting blood. His rifle was broken, useless. But among their supplies was something that might work, a pack of mining explosives he'd noticed earlier. He just needed an opening. "Valera," he shouted. "Get it to the back wall." She understood immediately. With a calculated series of moves, she drove the beast backward, positioning herself between it and Nathan. The creature lunged, its claws aiming for her throat. Nathan threw the explosives. Valera dropped and rolled, an incredible feat given her size, as the pack sailed over her. The beast's eyes tracked the object just as Nathan's bullet struck the pack. The explosion ripped through the station's back half, sending debris and smoke everywhere. When the dust settled, the beast lay still, half buried in rubble. But they had bigger problems. The helicopters were getting closer, searchlights cutting through the trees. "The mines," Nathan coughed, stumbling toward Valera. "We need to dash." She caught him as he stumbled, her massive hands surprisingly gentle. "You are injured." "I'm fine. But we need to move. Now." Valera's expression shifted to one of determination. Without warning, she scooped Nathan up as if he weighed nothing, cradling him against her armored chest. "Direct me," she said, and then they were moving. Nathan had never experienced anything like. The deep rumble of distant explosions echoed through the mine tunnels as Nathan and Valera made their way through the darkness. Her energy staff cast shifting shadows on the rough-hewn walls, while the gentle glow of her healing wounds provided additional illumination. They had been moving for hours, using Nathan's knowledge of the tunnel system to stay ahead of their pursuers. "Your wounds," Valera observed, her silver eyes reflecting concern. "They pain you still." Nathan pressed a hand against his bruised ribs, forcing a smile. "I've had worse. But we need to find somewhere to rest soon. Can't keep going like this forever." Valera stopped suddenly, her head tilted in that now familiar gesture of heightened awareness. "There is power here. Ancient machinery." She pointed down a side tunnel they had nearly missed. "That way." Following her lead, they discovered an old processing facility carved into the mountain itself. Massive generators and outdated equipment filled the cavernous space, all covered in years of dust. But more importantly, it was defensible, with only 2 access points. "This will do," Nathan said, checking the exits. "We can rest here, try to figure out our next move." He began setting up some emergency lighting from his pack, creating a small safe zone in the vast chamber. Valera moved to one of the generators, her hand hovering over its surface. "Primitive, but useful. The metal in these mountains interferes with tracking. Both yours and theirs." Nathan watched as she began manipulating something on her armor, causing it to shimmer and change. "You're full of surprises. That some kind of communication device?" "Command interface," she corrected. "Before crash, received partial transmission. Need to decode." Her face grew serious. "Nathan, what I tell you now, changes everything. She projected a holographic display from her armor, showing what appeared to be star charts and tactical data. Earth stands at crossroads. Multiple factions watch your world. The Sentinel beasts, they are tests. If humanity proves worthy, invitation to Galactic Alliance follows. If not, let me guess, extinction. Nathan's voice was grim. Worse. Harvesting. Enslavement. Some species see developing worlds as resources to be exploited. She met his eyes. But there is more. Corruption in my own command. Some Asterians collaborate with harvesters. My mission, compromised from within. The implications hit Nathan like a physical blow. That's why you crashed. Someone sabotaged you. Valera nodded. Tried to prevent me from reaching Earth's defenders. From warning dash. She cut off as a new sound echoed through the facility, the distinctive click of multiple weapons being readied. From the shadows emerged a team of heavily armed soldiers, but their uniforms weren't standard military. At their head stood a woman with cold eyes and captain's bars. That's far enough, the woman said. Captain Riley, step away from the alien. You've done well leading us to it. Nathan's blood ran cold. Captain Reeves? You're supposed to be stationed in Washington. His mind raced. How had they been found? Plans change when aliens fall from the sky. Reeves smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. We've been tracking you since the crash. Waiting to see what the creature would reveal. Valera tensed beside him, her massive frame coiling with lethal potential. But there were too many weapons trained on them, and in the confined space, her size would work against her. Who are you really working for? Nathan demanded, subtly shifting his position to shield more of Valera. Because this isn't a standard military operation. Smart boy, Reeves chuckled. Let's just say there are those in power who understand the true opportunity here. Alien technology, biological samples, do you have any idea what that's worth? The advantages it could give us? You know about the harvesters, Nathan realized. You're working with them. We're ensuring humanity's survival by choosing the winning side. Reeves raised her weapon. Now step aside, Captain. The creature comes with us. Nathan felt Valera's hand brush his shoulder, a silent signal. He had come to understand her well enough to know she had a plan. And if I refuse? Then you'll be listed as another casualty of the meteor crash. Tragic, really. A hero lost in the line of duty. You forgot something, Captain, Nathan said, allowing himself a small smile. Oh? And what's that? Valera's not the only one who can fight in the dark. In one fluid motion, he grabbed the emergency light and smashed it, plunging the facility into darkness. In the same instant, Valera's energy staff flared to life, its brilliant glow momentarily blinding their attackers. What followed was chaos. Valera moved with devastating efficiency, her massive form somehow avoiding the panicked gunfire while systematically disabling their opponents. Nathan stayed close to her, using his combat training to take advantage of the confusion. When it was over, Reeves and her team lay unconscious or groaning on the ground. Nathan quickly began securing them with zip ties while Valera stood guard. There will be more, she said grimly. I know. But now we have prisoners. And information. He turned to her, his expression determined. You said Earth stands at a crossroads. Well, I'm not letting corrupt officials and alien harvester collaborators decide our fate. Valera knelt down, bringing herself closer to his eye level. The choice was right, she said softly. To trust you first. To show truth. Nathan reached out, placing his hand on her massive arm. We're in this together now. Whatever comes next. Yes, she agreed, and something in her voice made his heart race. Together. As if to punctuate her words, a massive tremor shook the facility. But this was no explosion or pursuit. This felt like something much bigger awakening. Valara's eyes widened. They come. The final test begins. Nathan looked at their unconscious prisoners, then back to his alien partner. Then I guess we better make sure humanity passes. Any idea how to stop an invasion while being hunted by our own people? Valara's answer was interrupted by another tremor, stronger this time. Deep in the mountain, something ancient was stirring. The real war was about to begin. The mountain shook again as Nathan and Valara raced through the tunnels, leaving their bound prisoners secured in the old facility. The tremors were getting stronger, more frequent, and Valara's expression grew increasingly concerned with each one. What exactly are we dealing with? Nathan asked as they navigated the maze-like passages. What's causing these tremors? The first ones, Valara replied, her silver eyes glowing brighter in the darkness. Ancient machines, left to judge emerging worlds. They sleep beneath surface, waiting. She paused, placing her massive hand against the tunnel wall. Your people built these mines without knowing they approached their chamber. And now they're waking up. Nathan felt another tremor, stronger than before. Because of your crash? Because time has come. Earth must be tested. Her voice carried a weight of ancient knowledge. But the harvesters seek to corrupt the trial, trigger failure response. If they succeed. A deafening roar cut through their conversation, followed by the sound of massive machinery grinding to life. The tunnel ahead of them suddenly blazed with light as something burst through the rock wall, a mechanical entity that seemed to defy physics, its surface shifting and flowing like liquid metal. Guardian! Valara shouted, pulling Nathan back as the machine's sensors focused on them. We must prove worthy. The Guardian advanced, its form constantly changing, probing tendrils of living metal reaching toward them. Nathan's military training seemed woefully inadequate in the face of such technology, but he stood his ground beside Valara. How exactly do we prove worthy to that thing? Valara's energy staff hummed to life, but she didn't attack. Instead, she stepped forward, her massive frame radiating authority. She spoke in a language Nathan had never heard before, ancient and powerful, making the very air vibrate. The Guardian paused, its surface rippling with patterns of light. Then, to Nathan's amazement, it responded in the same language. A holographic display appeared between them, showing Earth and various approaching vessels. Harvester ships breach your system's edge, Valara translated grimly. They seek to force Earth's failure, claim its resources. The Guardian offers choice, stand trial now, or watch your world burn. Some choice, Nathan muttered. What kind of trial? Before Valara could answer, multiple explosions rocked the tunnel. Through the new breach poured soldiers, not just Reeves' corrupt unit, but others, led by faces Nathan recognized from high command. And with them came creatures that were definitely not from Earth, tall, spindly beings with gray skin and eyes that glowed with malevolent intelligence. Harvester scouts, Valara growled, her staff shifting to combat mode. They corrupt your leaders with promises of power. The Guardian's response was immediate and devastating. Tendrils of liquid metal shot out, creating barriers between the groups. Its voice boomed through the chamber, causing everyone to clutch their heads in pain. It demands proof, Valara said through gritted teeth. Proof that humanity can rise above corruption, face universe with unity and courage. Nathan looked at the approaching harvesters, then at his former commanders, and finally at Valara, this incredible being who had chosen to trust him, to fight alongside him. He made his decision. Then let's give it proof. He stepped forward, addressing both the human soldiers and the Guardian. Listen to me. You're being manipulated. The harvesters don't want to help humanity, they want to enslave us. But we have a chance right now to prove we deserve better. Some of the soldiers hesitated, looking between their commanders and Nathan. He pressed on, drawing on everything he'd learned from Valera about the bigger picture. Earth isn't alone in the universe, but we get to choose what role we play. Do we want to be remembered as the species that sold out our own people for empty promises? Or do we want to prove we're ready for something greater? The Harvester scouts hissed, their forms shifting as they prepared to attack. But before they could move, one of the senior officers, Colonel Hayes, stepped forward. "Stand down," he ordered his men, then turned to face the Harvesters. "Captain Riley is right. We signed up to protect Earth, not sell it out." The Guardian's surface pulsed with increasing intensity as more soldiers lowered their weapons, choosing to stand with Nathan and Valera. The Harvesters, realizing they were losing control, launched their attack. What followed was chaos, but of a different kind than before. Humans and Valera fought side by side against the Harvester scouts, while the Guardian observed, its presence both judging and protecting. Nathan found himself back-to-back with Valera, her massive form providing coverage while he coordinated with the troops. "The Guardian approves," Valera said during a brief respite, her voice carrying a note of pride. "Humanity shows unity in face of true threat." "Great," Nathan managed between breaths, reloading his borrowed weapon. "But we still have a bigger problem." "Those ships you mentioned?" Valera nodded grimly. "They approach. What happens here, only beginning." The Guardian suddenly moved, its liquid metal form flowing around them. Images appeared in the air, alien fleets approaching Earth, defensive systems activating worldwide, and something else, ancient machines stirring beneath every continent. "The first ones rise," Valera breathed. "Earth's trial enters final phase." Nathan looked up at her, seeing the weight of the moment in her silver eyes. "Then I guess we better make sure we pass. Together?" Valera's massive hand enveloped his shoulder, her touch gentle despite her size. "Together, Nathan of Earth. Always." The Guardian's form shifted again, creating a portal of swirling energy. Through it, they could see what looked like a massive command center, filled with ancient technology. "It offers access to planetary defense grid," Valera explained. "If we accept, we commit to defending Earth against Harvester fleet." "But price?" She hesitated, looking at Nathan with an unreadable expression. "What price?" "Bond between human and Asterian. Permanent. Our fates, linked forever." Nathan looked at the portal, then at the soldiers waiting for orders, and finally at Valera, this extraordinary being who had changed his world forever. The choice was easy. Wouldn't want it any other way. The ancient command center hummed with power as Nathan and Valera worked side by side, their movements synchronized after stepping through the Guardian's portal. The massive chamber was filled with holographic displays showing the approaching Harvester fleet, while below them, through transparent floors, they could see the first one's machinery extending for miles in every direction. Multiple Harvester vessels entering lunar orbit, Colonel Hayes reported, coordinating with military commands worldwide through newly established channels. "They're not even trying to hide anymore. They believe victory assured," Valera said, her massive hands dancing over alien control interfaces. "Think Earth's defenses primitive, vulnerable." A slight smile crossed her face. "They know nothing of what sleeps beneath." Nathan watched in awe as more displays activated, showing similar command centers around the world where other Guardians had chosen their champions. Humans and hidden Asterian allies working together, preparing for humanity's greatest test. "The first ones built these facilities on every world with potential," Valera explained, her silver eyes reflecting the holographic light. "Waiting for the moment species prove ready for galactic community. Or..." She hesitated. "Or fail and get harvested," Nathan finished. He looked up at her, still amazed by her towering presence even after everything they'd been through. "Good thing we don't plan on failing." The chamber shuddered as the first one's machinery surged with power. Across the globe, ancient devices were awakening, emerging from mountains, deserts, and ocean depths. The Harvester fleet responded immediately, launching their first wave of attacks. Multiple bogies entering atmosphere, Hayes called out. They're targeting major cities. Not for long, Nathan said, activating the sequences Valera had shown him. Worldwide, massive energy shields flickered to life, protecting population centers. The Harvester weapons impacted harmlessly against the barriers. Valera's expression turned fierce with pride. Now, Nathan. Show them humanity's strength. Together, they initiated the counterattack. The first one's defensive systems were beyond anything humanity had imagined possible. Energy beams lanced up from hidden installations, cutting through Harvester ships like paper. Ancient satellites, dormant for millennia, came online and began systematically dismantling the alien fleet. But the Harvesters hadn't survived this long by being easily defeated. Their ships began adapting, changing tactics. New weapons pierced some of the shields, and dangerous ground forces were deployed before their vessels were destroyed. They breach barriers in multiple locations, Valera announced, her voice tense. Ground forces deploy harvest engines. If activated, they'll start processing Earth's population, Nathan finished grimly. Not happening. Colonel, coordinate with all commands. Priority is taking out those engines. Valera. She met his eyes, understanding immediately. The bond. It gives us one more option. The Guardian, which had been observing silently, moved forward. Its liquid metal form created a sphere around them as Valera explained what needed to be done. The first one's left fail-safe, she said softly. Complete neural link between human and Asterian champions. Allows direct control of all systems, but... She hesitated, her massive hand gently touching Nathan's face. Process dangerous. Many pairs do not survive joining. Nathan caught her hand with his own, marveling at how right it felt despite their size difference. Do we have a choice? There is always choice, she said firmly. I would not force this. Another impact rocked the chamber as more Harvester forces breached Earth's defenses. Nathan looked at the displays showing brave humans fighting alongside awakened Guardians around the world. They were holding their own, but the Harvesters were relentless. Without perfect coordination of the first one's systems, Earth would eventually fall. I choose you, Nathan said simply. I chose you the moment I found you in that crash site. Valera's silver eyes shimmered with emotion. And I chose you, Nathan of Earth. From first moment. The Guardian sphere pulsed with energy as they stepped into position. Valera had to kneel to bring herself to Nathan's height, but somehow the position felt like a gesture of equals rather than necessity. Warning, she said softly. Once joined, no return. We face whatever comes together, always. Nathan smiled. Sounds perfect to me. The Guardian initiated the link, and their worlds exploded into light. Nathan felt Valera's consciousness merge with his own, her memories, her feelings, her very essence becoming part of him as his became part of her. He experienced her childhood among the stars, her training as a warrior, her secret fears and hopes. She lived his life on Earth, felt his determination to protect others, his loneliness before finding her, his growing love. When the link stabilized, they were both forever changed. They moved as one, their merged consciousness extending through the first one's systems with perfect harmony. Together, they coordinated the worldwide defense with impossible precision. The Harvester forces never stood a chance. Every strategy they attempted was met with immediate countermeasures. Every weapon they deployed was neutralized before it could activate. The few ships that attempted to flee were caught in the crossfire of awakened defense satellites. In less than an hour, it was over. Earth had not only survived its trial, it had demonstrated unprecedented potential. The Guardians' approval resonated through the chamber as the First One systems shifted into a new configuration, one designed for a species ready to join the galactic community. As the neural link gently faded to a permanent but manageable connection, Nathan and Valera remained close, their hands intertwined. "Earth is safe," she said softly. "And proved far more than expected. The First Ones offer full alliance, access to all systems." "And us?" Nathan asked, though he already knew the answer through their lingering connection. Valera smiled, and Nathan felt her joy as his own. "We are one now. Where you go, I go. Your world or mine, together." Colonel Hayes approached, clearing his throat. "Captain Riley, the Joint Chiefs are requesting your presence. Both of you. It seems Earth's entry into the galactic community needs some guidance." Nathan looked up at Valera, his partner, his other half, and felt her answering surge of affection. "Well," he said, "should we go help humanity take its first steps into a larger universe?" Valera's response came through both words and their bond, filled with love and promise. "Together, my Nathan. Always together." As they prepared to face this new chapter, Nathan realized that what had started with a crashed ship and a leap of faith had become something extraordinary. Humanity had proved itself ready for the stars, but more importantly, two souls from different worlds had found their perfect match in each other. The First One's machinery hummed contentedly beneath them, and somewhere in the vast expanse of space, other worlds were preparing for their own trials. But here on Earth, a human and his towering alien warrior had already found everything they needed, in each other.